two. One, the regulation it allows for, as I understand it, it can be localized, and that can lead to a wide disparity from one community to the next as to what's civilly legal, how marijuana would be regulated from one community to the next. I see that lack of uniformity as a drawback, but certainly nowhere near as a detriment as the current criminality and all the unnecessary law enforcement and costs that go with that. So on the local level, the regulation is good. Lack of uniformity statewide, or the potential for lack of uniformity, I see as a drawback. And then there's a significant bigger drawback ultimately, and that's the federal illegality, and what will that mean in terms of federal law enforcement within our state and local community. And that's a big problem, and I don't know what the answer to that will be yet.
Well, I guess what the drawback would be the conflict between the federal law and state law, and I don't know how that gets resolved.
Well, it would be a real drawback for the tobacco industry. Their quarterly profits would probably be reduced a little bit. And other than that, I think people that are stoned are out there driving anyway. I don't see an increase in stoned drivers and reckless driving associated with marijuana. I don't really see a huge drawback personally. I think the benefits outweigh the drawbacks. I'd like to see more medical studies, open medical studies, so that we could get some real facts instead of just pipeline facts from questionable sources. And then maybe we can have a real discussion about the negative aspects and the positive aspects. But I think right now, from what I've seen, the benefits outweigh the risks.
Hopefully making our entire country, not just our local community and our state, make them more aware that in terms of how we spend our public resources, it is not efficient or useful to spend it, in my mind, on a criminalization of marijuana, whether it's medical marijuana or for recreational use. And it's much better to have it decriminalized, it's regulated, making it safer for our communities, saving money on law enforcement, and raising money through taxation. So there's significant benefits, and it gets rid of the unnecessary detriment and expense of criminalizing cannabis.
I think less alcohol abuse, maybe. Less emergency room visits for alcohol abuse. Something like 50% of emergency room visits are alcohol related. So that's a health effect right there. I don't know how harmful marijuana is going to be if a generation takes up smoking it, because we've never done any studies, or the studies that we have done have been totally suppressed. So it's going to be hard to say. It's kind of an experiment, I guess. But if you look at other countries that have done it, their crime rates haven't risen dramatically. They don't have. Most of them seem to have less health problems than we have. So I would think it'd be positive, and I don't think it could be any worse than the money that we're spending to prosecute. Put people in jail and keep them there.
I think most of the progression is going to lie in the industrial commercial opportunities that are involved with hemp-related products. There's just such a high pulp value, I think, in hemp that it makes it a more sustainable, more useful product when it comes to paper making, rope making, and then there's a lot of things that they're doing with composites that I think that there's almost no end to what you can do with that stuff as a substitute for plastics, as a new material that we don't use in innovation right now. So that's where I see most of the progression.